Hey YouTube, what's up? So, you guys probably have heard about the P. Diddy Cassie situation, right? Where P. Diddy and Cassie broke up. I'm not sure who broke it off with who, but basically they broke up, right? P. Diddy has moved on to like some like East Asian exotical, and Cassie has moved on to perhaps a white passing Latino. I heard that thrown around. So he's either white slash Caucasian or like a white passing Latino, right? And some people kind of have it, have taken issues with, Cassie deciding to move on. But, to be real though, when this news broke, P. Diddy had already moved on to like the East Asian exotical chick. So I find that a little odd. That's a little interesting. Perhaps a little hypocritical too. Um, but it wasn't enough for Diddy to move on first, right? And publicize his move first. But when I'm not sure if Cassie publicized it or P. Diddy publicized it. But either way it goes, P. Diddy said that Cassie cheated on him with a personal trainer that he hired. And, to add insult to injury, the personal trainer is white. And usually, when it comes to black men, they're not used to that happening, right? Because usually black men, especially the brown skin, dark skin brothers, tend to be the ones who leave the black women of all shades and the exoticals for the next level, quote unquote, right? The next level of woman, quote unquote. Or maybe I should just say the next phase of woman, I should say. But I'm quote unquoting it, so don't get all sensitive in the comment section, though, right? To these Negroes, it's a level up. How color struck these Negroes be sometimes. Because think about it, because he was with Kim Porter for a while. They have like a lot of kids together, and she's like a brown skin, dark skin woman, pretty much more or less like P Diddy, right? So he had his children with her, right? Um, but some people are saying, oh, he never married her, so it was like, people kind of gave a side eye to that, and in that whole like his when Kim Porter passed away, P. Diddy had said something like, oh, she was my soulmate. And then people kind of gave another side eye and was like, well, why didn't you marry her if you felt so strongly? Because he gave like this, he said like a few words about Kim Porter, right? And, the words that he was saying were all nice, but it seemed like they were somewhat empty because it just seemed like based on the way that you treated her in real day-to-day life, it didn't really reflect the words that you said. So some black women kind of felt some type of way about that, particularly brown skin and dark skinned black women, because Kim Porter is a dark skinned black woman. So some people kind of felt like, P. Diddy, didn't do right by Kim Porter, and that's an argument. That is an argument. I'm not really here to make that argument, but I'll say that throw P. Diddy a bone. He did, I believe, officially adopt Kim Porter's son and raised him as his own, right? Quincy Combs, originally Quincy Brown, but he later took on the name Combs, right? And I feel like that does show some love, right? When a man is willing to take, you on and your child from a previous relationship. I think that is a display of love, or it can be at least. I don't know if perhaps he has some sort of an ulterior motive with this involved, or whatever, but it can be, right? So, I'll give it P. Diddy a checkpoint for that, right? But what I really want to concentrate on and speak about in this video is the whole Cassie P. Diddy situation, all right? So the light bright, damn near white exotical Cassie has decided to be EGTOW. Okay, exoticals going their own way. All right, she's like, she's tired of this shit. She's tired of the drama. She's tired of the cheating rumors. She's tired of P Diddy's rumored side niggas. So she's tired of that. And Cassie was rumored to be the side chick at one point, but I think she ended up being the main chick. I don't know. It's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into that. Um, but she has decided to go EGTOW on their ass. And some folks are in the some people, particularly some brown skinned, dark skinned men, low key in their feelings about that. All right, because usually this doesn't happen. Usually this doesn't. You don't see this happen every single day, right? So they in their feelings about it, and the brown skinned, dark skinned women, the smart ones, are just sitting back and enjoying it. I'm pretty sure there's some mammy pick me mules up in there, just wanting to just go hard in the paint for these Negroes for some reason. But by and large, I think black women are just kind of just sitting back and just enjoying it. But I think this is sort of reflective of brown skinned men and light bright exoticals relationship dynamics in general to an extent, and I'll explain. Oftentimes I think when these light bright, damn near white exoticals get with brown skin, dark skinned men, these brown skin and dark skinned men kind of think like, oh, they're so just attracted to their phenotype, right? Because black women, primarily brown skin and dark skinned black women, and perhaps some light skinned mixed and biracial women thrown in the mix to uplift, their phenotype so much, right? So they think that their phenotype is what these women are attracted to. And that could be partially, but a lot of times it's more so not the color of your skin, but, the color of your money, right? While they think that these women are chasing after their melanin, no, they're chasing after their their money, their dollars, right? And a lot of times these women, will sort of use the brown skin, dark skin men for come ups. It's usually kind of like it's either they're getting a dark skin, brown skin man on their way up, then they'll dump his ass like the J-Lo did to P Diddy, or when they're on their way down, like Cassie, and then I guess they'll still dump their ass, right? And the media kind of got these dudes thinking like they just all that in a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos, And also brown skin and dark skin women big up in them so much, primarily, right? That's where the bulk of it comes from, But as I've said before, when it comes to these light skin, mixed biracial, light bright, damn near white exoticals, right? They ultimately go for the better deal. The ones who have the option to get the better deal usually just go for the better deal. You'll see this play out in the media a lot. You probably don't really notice it until until it's pointed out to you, right? Like, for instance, like you have those women like, say, Soledad O'Brien, Sunny Houston, Tatiana Ali, Vanessa Williams, heck, even like Rihanna. I don't even think Zendaya's dating a dark skin or brown skin. I'm not sure about her dating situation. Nicole Ari, right? Alicia Keys, a big surprise, as was Sunny Houston, a big surprise there too. But it's like when these women tend to have kind of like a good reputation, have some success under the belt, right? Um, and, look good, have some good looks about them. They tend not to be so quick to end up with a brown-skinned, dark-skinned man, right? Notice that. Now, on the flip side, I'm going to list off some basic, mediocre, light-skinned, mixed biracial, exotical women. And we'll see how this plays out, right? Okay, so first, Angela Yee from The Breakfast Club. I kind of think that she's like low-key basic. I don't think she's like mediocre. I'll say basic, I feel like I see in the comment section of like some Breakfast Club interviews sometimes that some dudes be just hyping her up so much. I'm like, she okay, but like, don't give it too much, Don't give her too much now. But, I believe that she is with a brown-skinned, dark-skinned dude, right? And like I said before in the previous video, the more basic and mediocre a light-skinned, mixed and biracial exotical is, the more likely they will end up with a brown-skinned or dark-skinned man. I've said that before. And that plays out too, And part of the reason why that happens is because like the thirst that these dudes have for these exoticals, no matter how they look, just the fact that they're just having like, a skin tone that is not reminiscent of blackness, And like a lot of times these dudes have, really low standards. They're in high supply, and they will be the garbage man. They will dumpster dive. They will bottom feed. Whether they are behind, dumpster diving behind the Mexican restaurant, the Chinese restaurant, or whether they're, bottom feeding in the Indian Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, whatever. They will do that for these, light bright, damn near white exoticals and just anything, honestly, that's, not black. Shit. Sometimes even for black chicks, That's why a lot of times these brown-skinned and dark-skinned women be liking them so much, because they'll take them being, out of shape, busted, disgusted, right? Like really low standards that, they can, fulfill, right? But back to these basic, mediocre, light-skinned, mixed biracial, exotical chicks, okay? Angela Yee from The Breakfast Club. She's probably going to be with a brown-skinned, dark-skinned dude. I believe she has at least dated some, Those are probably the dudes that really hype her up and try to holler at her anyway. I really think that's probably the only group of men that are really checking for her. No shade, I'm just saying. Hazel E. Right? Although I have seen Hazel E with like a light-skinned dude, I think. Although he was rumored to be a homosexual though, like Burgundy something or whatever. So that's probably the only dude that she could get that besides a brown-skinned, dark-skinned dude. And I think she has dated like Cat Williams in the past before too. So I don't know what's up with Hazel E. Another one, Tiny. She's kind of like an exception to this rule, though. But I believe, based on the way that her daughter Zanika looks, she probably has been with at least like a brown-skinned, dark-skinned dude at one point, right? But oddly enough, Tiny did not fall, into this pattern. Oddly enough, Tiny and T.I. When Tiny met T.I., when they both met, Tiny was the bigger star, But now, T.I. is the bigger star, so it kind of worked out for, both of them. So, congratulations to them. Let's see. Tina Knowles, Beyonce and Solange's mom. She, to me, is mediocre. Honestly, when it comes to the face, that face And I've seen pictures of her in her youth, and she still had that face. No shade, I'm just saying. But you saw, her husband low-key taking bullshit from her in that interview, right? But I think when it came to Matthew, because of his status, he probably was the one giving the bullshit to her, right? Because he kind of had, like, the money, and I think she may have just had like a high school education and wasn't really maybe doing much. He maybe set her up to, you know how that goes, right? So it's kind of like he was in the position of power, so that's why he was able to sort of do what he did in, the relationship or whatever, right? As well, Tina probably went along with it, because, the money was good. you know, she, you know, these women, they'll stick around if the money's right, But eventually she moved on and got a divorce. And now she's with Tim Lawson. I think that's how you say his name. I think that's his name. And, people kind of had issues with that whole incident that happened between them in that like Oprah interview. And people were like pointing out like, hey, this is kind of like what happens when you put these exoticals on a pedestal so much, right? And Tina is still with like a brown skinned, dark skinned dude. Tim Lawson is one. But like the question is like, could she really get like a standard quality non-black man or non-black adjacent man? Because I'll throw in Iggy Azalea for an example. Somebody brought this up in the comment section I saw where it was like, oh, someone said like, oh, Iggy Azalea, like she tends to mess with black men because, she probably can, more or less what they were saying was she could get more, quote unquote, bang for her buck, whereas like she could get like a higher quality black man than she could get a higher quality white man, right? Like if she were to get a white man, he would probably be like a six-figure dude type of white man, versus if she gets with a black man, he'd probably be like a millionaire, right? So these light bright exotic chicks, non-black chicks, they know, by and large, they know how to get the most when it comes to dating. Typically, the smart ones do at least, right? Another person on the list, Tamala Mann. She is that, the light-skinned, heavyset chick who plays on, I think Meet the Browns is the name of the show. And she's married to like that dark-skinned dude on the show too. And another person on the list, Tisha Campbell, Gina from Martin, right? Yeah, yeah. So a lot of times these like brown skin, dark skin dudes be thinking that it's just so much all about their phenotype when it comes to what these women like about them, when that's not exactly entirely the case, right? But because they've been so hyped up, they kind of done, believe their own hype, right? Primarily by brown skin and dark skinned women, by the way, they've been hyped up. Because I don't really see the collective of non-black women really hyping these dudes up. In fact, when it comes to marketing, I don't even think the majority of these dudes can be marketed towards non-black women until they have reached a certain level of fame and success, right? Not right off the bat. Like right off the bat, a Michael B. Jordan could be marketed towards black women. But right off the bat, a Michael B. Jordan could not be marketed towards like white women or Latinas, exotic, like typically not, Now, once Michael B. Jordan has reached like, say the status of, Will Smith or Denzel Washington, perhaps. Perhaps. Low-key that happened with Taye Diggs. They tried that shit. It didn't work. That shit did not work, right? And he blamed black women for that shit not working. Like, wait a minute, how the hell are black women responsible for what white women like and don't like? Like, oh, you ain't hype me up. You ain't hype me up enough, black woman. Y'all want to see a brother fail, right? Bring a brother down, right? You don't want to build a brother up. Y'all just want to bring a brother down. Yeah. And even like, Idris Elba, right? He can kind of, sort of, it's kind of like getting to a point where he can kind of be marketed towards, or marketed with white women or non-black women. Based on his dating history and who he's married. He's married the light bright exoticals. He's dated like the brown skinned chicks though. Like, he dated K Michelle for a second, as if we thought that relationship was going to last. But he was like, I'll throw the brown skin, dark skin chicks on. Then he dated Naomi Campbell. That seemed like it would be a good relationship. But for some reason I'm not sure if that really lasted. I'm not sure if they're still together or what. But when it came to the women that he married and the women that he had his child with, light bright exoticals, right? I think married to like 3. He has married 3 light bright exoticals, And I saw his daughter. His daughter actually looks really, has a really beautiful look, She's like a brown, I would say like a brown skin exotical, right? It's kind of like she got her mother's features, but her dad's skin tone. So it's kind of like this like brown skin exotical look to her, right? So I'm like, when they gonna start putting her in some movies? Let's push her out there, right? Let's see what she can, if she got some acting chops or some singing chops or, some entertainment industry chops of some sort. She can host a show, something. Yeah. But, to sum it up though, to bring it back to topic and sum it up. Basically, when it comes to the situation of Cassie and P. Diddy, it's like Cassie low-key went off code, right? She wasn't supposed to leave P. Diddy, one, at all, really, but also leave P. Diddy for someone with the phenotype that is the extreme opposite. Also, a dude that seemingly has less money than him and seemingly on his payroll too. So that even adds more insult to injury too, where it's like, oh, she kind of, to an extent, took a step down to be with this dude, if what P. Diddy is saying is true. But I don't even know what he's saying is true. Saying that, Cassie cheated. I'm not even sure if that's even true, right? Also, kind of like, why would he want to put that out there for people to know? Because that would kind of make him look a bit bad, right? But they don't like it, right? I think maybe he just wanted to do that to sort of, kind of like tarnish Cassie's reputation or some sort. But she ain't really got much of a reputation, really, I don't think. Like, she ain't really got like a career popping like, say, Cardi B does, right? And we could probably talk about Cardi B for a second, right? I think if Cardi B were to leave Offset and not get with a dude that was reminiscent of Offset, I think that her career would probably take a hit because of that. I could be wrong, but I think that may end up playing out. And also, just a FYI, these brown skin, dark skin dudes feel this way about when the brown skin, dark skin women, quote unquote, go off code too, right? Like Eve, when she went off code and got with and married, I believe, a white man, these brown skin, dark skin dudes were tripping, right? Serena Williams, same thing. Even though Serena Williams has a long history of dating different types of men. She wasn't being discriminatory. She was just being equal opportunity about it, right? Still wasn't good enough. She's been called bedwenches so many times, right? Most recently, Michelle Williams, right? They going after Michelle Williams too, because she opened up her dating options, right? And usually these women be like doing it low key, and they don't even be advertising it, right? They just be low key living their life, just trying to find love, They ain't really bashing black men in the process, I don't think. Heck, Janet Jackson, They always want to try and come after Janet Jackson for some reason, right? As if Janet Jackson never dated a black man before, right? Wasn't she married to one of the Barges for a while? Now, Janet Jackson was a man, and the DeBarge dude, James DeBarge, was a woman. Oh, that'd be a checkpoint. Like, oh, that's black love right there. But when it's uh, the brown skinned woman with the light bright exotical dude, oh, that ain't black love. Oh no, you self hating. Oh no, you just want a light skinned good hair baby. All that shit, right? You know. But you know, she has been with Jermaine Dupri. They had like a long-term relationship, and I think they're back together right now too. Bobby Brown, right? Based on what he said, Janet Jackson let him hit, but obviously he ain't hit good enough because she ain't want to marry the dude, so then he kicked her out of the room. He's like, shit. So he kind of got in his feelings about that. Because Janet Jackson was like, nah, nigga, you ain't slaying that dick that good now. Calm down now. So, then folks want to kind of like drag Janet Jackson about that, And I kind of thought about making a video kind of just talking about that situation, but then I was like, nah. And probably the video is going to be more so me defending Janet Jackson more than me coming at Janet Jackson anyway. I think Janet Jackson probably has done it right. She's just going for the best deal, right? That's why, her son has a billionaire father, Now, if there was some billionaire black men who are interested in black women, then perhaps, that would be, we could like hold her more to task for that. But it's like she wound up getting something that she wasn't able to easily get from black men, right? She didn't bash black men in the process. She did not totally exclude black men from her dating options. She just went for a man that she kind of felt who would be able to give her what she wanted and what she needed, and this, that, and the third. So let me bring this video to a close. I've gone on for long enough. Thanks for watching. Feel free to comment. Let me know what you think. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.